So I picked this verse, 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth. This then is how we know we belong to the truth, and how we set our hearts at rest in his presence whenever our hearts condemn us. For God is greater than our hearts, and he knows everything. Dear friends, if our hearts do not condemn us, we have confidence before God and receive from him anything we ask, because we obey his commands and do what pleases him. When I saw that verse, we had to memorize uh, a lot of scriptures. So I picked that one to memorize because, like, to me, at that point in my life, I was really trying to understand love. Like, what is love? And, like, you hear people say, oh, I love you, and then I love you this. But then, like, those same people will, like, be fighting, or, like, they'll, I love you, and then, like, the husband will kill the wife, or the wife will kill the husband. And it's like, love isn't supposed to hurt. But growing up, every like expression of love I saw, like, somebody got hurt. And I was trying to figure out, like, like, what is love then? If people are like, well, God is love, and love doesn't hurt. So I'm like, every example of love I saw was not good. Like, something crazy happened. So anyway, I saw this and I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm just reading it over and over. And I'm like, okay, let us not love with words or tongue. Again, actions speak louder than words. I'm like, people say that stuff all the time. But I'm like, in actions and in truth. So love is an action word. And we was learning about that stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So how can I say, like, I love somebody without just giving them lip service? Like, one way you get to know the person. And then you start to, like, become like an instrument of, like, good stuff in their life, like helping them out, like helping them take the groceries in. There's little stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, the more we do stuff like that, man, the more you can get away from this whole idea of like the lip service when it comes to saying you love somebody, or like when you see your neighbor in a messed up situation, if God say love thy neighbor, you don't just say, oh, hey, hey neighbor, like, I hope you feel better. Like, you go try to help. You go try to do something to, like, improve that person's life. So and man, all of these verses, man, that was, like the ones on charity and faith without works. It's like they all basically come together to me in my head, and it's like it's all about actions. It has little to do with saying these nice, pretty words, and even the actions, man, the motives behind the actions. Like, those things gotta be right too. So love people, man. Like, that's the greatest of all the commands is love your God and love your neighbor like you love yourself. Everything else should just fall right into place. So, and I was like, man, is that easy? Like, it's really that? Like, this whole book is that easy. Like, the whole book is basically can be summed up to that. I'm like, what? Okay.